Behavioral psychology faces a persistent obstacle, the Hawthorne effect. This occurs when individuals being studied realize they're under observation and instinctively alter their behavior, making it impossible to record their natural, unscripted actions. This photograph shows how traditional academic research attempts to manage this by placing subjects in controlled, sterile environments. However, these settings are highly artificial and often fail to replicate the complexities of real-world social interaction. Further complicating the data is the financial structure of the university system. Researchers are typically dependent on academic grants, which often include strict deadlines that limit the duration of a study to only a few weeks. When researchers use artificial settings and short timelines, the resulting data is frequently skewed. It provides a snapshot of how people react to being tested, rather than a genuine picture of human nature. The International Studies of Cognitive Ontology, known as the ISCO Project, was established to solve these methodological issues. To capture authentic behavior, the ISCO researchers moved outside the university system entirely. They purchased and operated a commercial business to serve as their primary research setting. By running a standard hospitality business, the researchers created an environment where the subjects were unaware they were part of a study, ensuring their actions remained genuine. The center of the study was a social resort, a functioning international business that secretly doubled as a long-term behavioral observation laboratory. This flowchart shows the project's self-funded model. Paying guests provided revenue that bypassed the need for university grants, funding the research directly. This financial independence allowed the study to run for 8 years, observing the behaviors of more than 120,000 individuals. Beyond the financial model, the physical layout of the resort was designed to collect data without interfering with the guests' experience. The study utilized visual flow analytics. This method uses overhead sensors to track movement patterns and identify pre-event cues, the specific behaviors and social interactions that happen immediately before a significant event, such as a conflict or a social grouping. To adhere to a self-imposed ethical framework, these sensors were restricted to communal areas. The researchers prohibited any form of observation inside private guest rooms. This spatial design turned the resort's infrastructure into a passive data-gathering system that operated within clear ethical boundaries. In addition to environmental monitoring, the study used daily business operations as invisible variables to test how guests made decisions. One primary method used pricing as a variable. By intentionally lowering the price of female-only dorms, researchers ensured cost was not a barrier. This forced guests to choose based on comfort, revealing if social interactions were driven by genuine preference or purely transactional motivations. The researchers also utilized a control mechanism called embedded service assurance. This involved a work exchange program where staff members lived on site and performed standard duties like cooking or front desk management. These blind staff members were part of the study's control group. Through natural, everyday conversations, they observed how guests sought social validation from others, providing direct data on the role of the ego in real-world social groups. By embedding these variables within the commerce and staffing of the resort, ISCO maintained a natural environment where the participants were never aware of the observation. After 8 years, the researchers began the process of triangulation. Triangulation is a technique that compares different types of data, in this case, quantitative video analytics and qualitative staff reports, to ensure the findings are consistent and accurate. This process allowed the study to identify patterns in how the human ego influences social transactions and how individuals establish internal boundaries when interacting with strangers. Because this data was collected in a real-world setting over nearly a decade, it holds significant commercial value for the hospitality and travel industries. Corporations view this dataset as highly accurate because it lacks the artificiality and observer bias that often limits traditional academic findings. The ISCO Project demonstrated that to understand the reality of human behavior, research must move away from artificial laboratories and out into the natural environments where people actually live and interact.